good evening, and welcome to another edition, or maybe I say another season, of the New Black Leadership Coalition here live on CAN Television, Channel 21. Would like to thank them for this great opportunity once again to come to you live, the New Black Leadership Coalition. You heard it right, and I know many of you all that are wise would understand that there's nothing new under the sun. But what we're talking about when we say new vision, new energy, not even new ideas, but new to the point that we believe that sometime when you say old or new, people tend to see or begin to look at division. But what we are talking about is a cadre of men and women that believe that organizing, the activists, and those individuals who really want to see some real systemic change in the plight of our community. And let me thank the Creator first and foremost for blessing me and you with another day of life on this planet that we refer to as Earth. I am very thankful, and I am very humble to be heard by many via Facebook and over the airwaves. We take this very serious, when we are using these precious airwaves and hoping that the words that we have for you are enlightening, they're motivating, they're inspiring, and etc. And before I really start the conversation today regarding what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to give you a little information about who we are, the New Black Leadership Coalition. But there's a phone number later on down the program. I would like to hear from you, 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060. So a little bit about the New Black Leadership. And we have a website that I'm gonna put up in a minute. But the mission of the New Black Leadership, first of all, we're a community-based coalition, and our mission is to create a viable working coalition between a new untapped group of community leaders within the Black community. Our mission is to serve the cause of empowerment of the Black community throughout Chicagoland and abroad. We will serve as advocates for our community in all the areas of vital importance to the development of the community and family. We will seek to transmit, communicate, and educate the community and the requirements of self-determination and self-development. And if we did not need at no other time, no other time, but a time like this, self-determination and self-development is critical. I'm telling you, if you're watching via Facebook, please share this. Share this with folks on your page. I don't typically ask you to do that, but I see a lot of stuff that's being shared, but share something that is relevant, something that is very important to the survival of our people. Because when you put together this whole piece of self-determination and you look at the plight of our community, and everybody realizes, we're scrambling as a community. The narratives in the news, if we want to call that news, is violence, is taxes, it's troubling, it's not good. How often do we see a news article or a news segment that really people feel as though things are getting better. And we don't see that. And there's a reason spiritually why that's happening. But sociologically, I want to just take a little dig at it from the perspective of white privilege. And I want to talk about that because it's so embedded, it's so ingrained, it's so institutionalized, it's so structural that it's very difficult to break that cycle. And when we talk about a society that and we should be claiming one nation, one group of people, whether you black or white, etc. But unfortunately, it's not happening that way. It isn't. And there's no way under the sun we're going to ever even the playing field until we understand that nobody can save us but us. Nobody can save us but us. I'm going to take the call in a couple of minutes and hear what this caller have to say. But self-determination and self-development is so critical. And then I'm going to come back and talk to you all that you were familiar with this roundtable, quarterly roundtable that we had, the United Black Leadership Quarterly Roundtable a few weeks ago, and it was a huge success. But anyway, let me take the caller. Good evening, caller. How are you?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. If we can turn it up just a little bit, if it's possible. Yeah, I can hear you. But go ahead and speak up a little bit because I can barely hear you.
Thank you, sir. You're 100% right. But you know what? We not only need.
Mike, can you ask them? Hold on one second, sir. Can we get that caller? Can they inside their mic? Can they turn it up a little bit? See if they can turn it up because I can't. It's so faint. Sir, I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm really straining to hear it. But go ahead, try it again.
Okay, can you hear me better?
Yes, sir, a little better.
All right. You're 100% right in what you're saying, but we just don't need a new black leadership. We need a new coalition of people.
That's what we have, a coalition.
Because I'll tell you why. Because I'm Hispanic.
What kind of strategist are you?
I'm a Mexican American.
You're what?
I'm a Mexican American.
Okay, and believe me, my Latino brothers and sisters, they have coalitions too, and
yes,
but go ahead, finish, because I wanna qualify something. But go ahead.
I want to say this. You know what? You talk about white privilege, and it is. But you know why it is white privilege? Because we, as a people, don't do anything about it. Look at our streets. Look at our unemployment. Look at everything that the white privilege says, and guess what? We do exactly that. So we got to start getting up out of this doldrum, and we got to start getting together. Blacks, Hispanic, Korean, I don't care what you are, but you need to get together. Otherwise, that white man is going to keep running us like he's been running us.
Thank you. And so one part of what you said, I agree with. We cannot keep blaming anybody but ourselves. But we do need to point out that we have a system that's broken. And as New Black Leadership, it is a coalition of some very balanced individuals from various stratas of life and professions. So I would say this, that our coalition is to be all-inclusive in terms of folks coming to the table with new energy and to carry out the new vision. And you're right, it starts with self, it starts with family, it starts with community, and that's where the energy and the work need to be placed. But we need to know that when you're working within a system, you and me as a whole have to give that other group respect. And that group have to have self-respect to figure out what we need to do to clean up our own block, house, self, community. And that's very, very important. So I concur, but I do say this, that there is, and it always have been, an uneven distribution of the wealth. And so while we should not rely on whatever the taxes and, as we are taxpayers, how that money is distributed, how that money is delivered after, we pay that. Because we still have an enormous amount of economic power. Yesterday on our show, Intellectual Radio, we do it every Monday. The subject last night was the power of unity. The power of unity. And it connects with what we're talking about today, because if you really are serious about changing anything that we feel is disturbing in our community, we got to open our mouth, open our hearts, and really open our eyes and stop acting as though somebody else is going to come and save us. It's never going to happen. Unfortunately, we have way too many wolves in sheep clothing, and they're not the type of shepherds or servants that, you need to know the truth, that are going to tell you the truth. And sometimes people get offended by truth, but you cannot worry about that. When you know what you're doing is for the right reason, then you don't have to worry about somebody trying to put you in some little cheap category and make it seem as though, you're being divisive. No, I am promoting self-empowerment. And if you tell me self-empowerment is not important, then I know you want to keep us in this same position waiting on a mystery God. And so far, that mystery God has not delivered to us, because it's the God power inside of us realizing that our unity collectively is the answer to every issue, problem, and challenge that we have in our community, in this society, and this world, and on this universe. We can fix it all. But self-improvement starts with self. There's no community development without self-improvement. And so that's why, as a coalition of individuals, and let me put this up here real quick. And if you want to get in contact and know more about the New Black Leadership Coalition, you can do so by looking at this overhead right here. It's a little not together here, but that's us right there, the New Black Leadership Coalition. And I know the people on Facebook, you can't see it, but we've been around for many, many years. But what we've done is we have reunited, and we've come together in a very critical period. And you tell me this, how many of you all watch the news? How many of you all have conversations with, say, people in your community? And most of the conversations that you have, they tend to be doom and gloom. I mean, the news is doom and gloom. But yet, when you look around the city of Chicago, somebody is prospering. Somebody is doing well because there's 114 cranes up. Somebody is building. As we look around and we get upset, and we should be upset because we don't see a fair amount of representation. Look, if the city is 60% black, 60%, but yet there's a set aside of, I think it's 25% supposedly of the contract supposed to come. That's not happening the way it should happen. It's not happening like that. That tells me that there's a lot of work that we have to do, and we have to remind our friends who are in the city hall, who are in the state government, who are dealing with federal issues. We have to remind them you do not have to be apologetic to tell people that things are not right. Things are not fair. Things are definitely uneven. And we're never going to fix this as long as we have folks with that mentality. And so as a black community, there are a lot. I'm glad you called in, brother. I know that there are Caucasian watching, Asian people watching. And I think it's all of our responsibility to think about how we can show more parity, how we can show more fairness. You can't keep looking at the condition of black people and then on one end you want us to be patriotic. On the other end, you don't come to our aid. You say that's our problem. Why don't they fix what's wrong? You really right now. We should be fixing it ourselves. But where's your real patriotism when it comes to the hood? We'll go overseas, quick to go overseas, but won't come in Inglewood, won't visit Roseland. And yeah, the people in Roseland and the people in Inglewood and the people in whatever area must pull our own selves. We got a few boots and enough boots now that we can pull our own selves up. But how can we do that without unity? How can we do that if we are walking by each other every day, not speaking, saying hello, engaging in a positive conversation? Where's our positive energy? And you know misery loves company. So oftentimes when you even read the stuff on Facebook, we could be just an overabundance of what's wrong. And I mean, we need to point that out, but there are solutions. 731-738-1060. 312-738-1060. I don't know what number I gave out. So that's 312-738-1060. We got another call on the line. Good evening, caller. How you doing?
Hey, it's a beautiful day, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, here's the thing. Of course, I like everything that you're saying. There's no doubt about that. But for 40 to 50 years, we've had the same problems on the south and the west side in the city of Chicago among the black and brown people.
Yes.
Now, we've had Democratic leadership for the same period of time, 40, 50 years, the people that call the shots in terms of the distribution of services, and they have allowed the murder, the shooting, the socio-economic disadvantage to flourish and to actually prosper in these two sides of the city. So Einstein said, if you keep doing something the same way and expect a different result, then you're insane. So here's what we do. We create a leadership scorecard based on number of shootings, based on number of abandoned buildings, based on number of murders in each segment of our community that have people that look like us representing us.
and we track it for maybe 1 year, we track it for 2 years, and if the scores in these areas don't improve, then we together will mandate change from that leader, okay, from that person in charge. Now, these little steps will give us more encouragement. We'll build our strength. We'll build our numbers, and we'll start having little victories. And as we change the people that get set, not representing us, but in those positions, that's when we'll start getting change. That's when we'll start feeling better because we're going to start having victories. And a lot of black and brown people don't experience victory on any level. So when we start doing that, holding them accountable, that gives us one common goal, one common focus, okay? And it allows us to concentrate because when the people in charge say, well, it all begins in the home, and if you straighten it out in the home, then everything
Okay.
will be fine. Well, how do you do that?
Yes,
How do you
sir.
train people to do that? So they know that that's an impossibility. But what is possible is the fact that we do have the ability to change the people that call themselves leaders that are not leading us. That's what we can do. That's how we can start, and then we can grow incrementally from there.
Thank you. Excellent point. Thank you, sir. Excellent point. And one of the major things that you said that I love is accountability. We need accountability. And we do need individuals that are our representatives, whether it is the state rep or the Senate, state senator, or the alderman, or the congressperson, or the local school council, anyone that claims to be a leader. Now, what you gotta understand, also, and I concur with you, is there should be a scorecard, and that's one of the things the New Black Leadership Coalition is really about. And so, as we are striving very, very, very hard to bring together the leadership, we do understand that accountability is critical. And our focus is really on what can we do to save our community. Not looking for others. Another caller, how you doing, caller?
Yeah, just a quick point. Is anyone, are we really aware of the fact that since Friday, we've had over 100 people shot and
Yeah, we're
over
aware.
15 people killed?
Yes.
Does anyone really know, or are they really sinking in that we here in Chicago live in one of the most dangerous areas, not just in Chicago, we live in
Okay.
one of the most, not just in the United States, we live in one of the most dangerous areas in the world, man.
Yes, sir.
We
I
don't
got it.
have federal assistance.
Let me just say,
This is unacceptable.
right.
Thank
And
you.
thank you. And we are well aware of the unfortunate and sad and disgraceful shootings and murders. But we could fix that. We can fix that. And we, as a community of people, have to begin to communicate. See, when anybody can just walk into your house, your community, without any accountability, going back to the words you just used, you know, we have to be very strong, but yet humble and loving and caring and build relationships with each other and talk to the youth. Talk to, people that we don't know and not be so afraid to try to find out before all of this stuff goes down what's happening on your block, what's happening around your block. See, if we are waiting on the news again to keep us informed about stuff that we know is taking place and chances are going to take place tomorrow night, next week, we should be already out there saying, what can we do to create accountability in our own life, our own household, our own community, and take charge and take it back. And we can take it back, but with love. We got to show more love, concern, and patience with our people. And that's why the New Black Leadership Coalition, a coalition that's made up of some very, very talented young men and women of, again, of different backgrounds, and we're determined. We're determined. And next week, when I come on, I'm going to give you some info, if we have it by then, when our next United Leadership Quarterly Roundtable will be. I want to keep you informed because that's where, as a leader, as an organizer, or an activist, you should be at that roundtable. And we would love to hear from you and have you become part of this powerful, necessary coalition. I've enjoyed, being back here at CAN Television. Don't forget, on Monday nights, we're on Intellectual Radio on Monday at 7 o'clock. And, what we try to do, and we got a couple of minutes, right? We got a couple of minutes before we have to be off. What we really try to do is not sugarcoat, water down. We really love calling a spade, because this is not the time and the season for people to be afraid to speak truth to what we perceive as power. We just cannot afford to keep doing that. Die for a reason, die for a cause. Stand up. Stop just being on the sideline saying what's wrong. Get off the sideline and go and mentor somebody. Get off the sideline, go and embrace somebody on your block. You know some of the young people that walk by you every day, they're not in school, they're not productive. But what have you done? What have you offered them? So until we can go to them and offer them another way out, then we got to stop complaining. Because you know why? We waiting on somebody else to feed them, to clothe them, and to educate them. That's our responsibility. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, CAN Television, for giving us this another opportunity to get it right. Peace and love.